Welcome to Super Connections. I am your host, Jennifer K. Hill, helping you with the golden triangle of connection, where you will super connect to yourself, others, and your purpose. Join me each week as I will share from some of my favorite tips and tools for super connecting, and I'll bring in some of my favorite friends and thought leaders to help support you on your journey to super connecting to the life of your dreams. Welcome back to episode 5 of Super Connections podcast. I am Jennifer K. Hill, and it is such an honor to be on this journey of helping you super connect to yourself, others, and your purpose. Today, I'm going to share a fun story/experiment of how super connecting has showed up in my life in the last few years and give you a couple takeaways and tidbits from this experiment and story of how you can super connect more deeply to others in your own life. About a month and a half ago, I was given one of the greatest gifts of my life by a dear friend, super connector out of Australia, Johan. One Saturday morning, he called me urgently and said, "Jen, you must get in your WhatsApp. I have a gift I've been trying to give you for a week." I scratched my head. I said, "Okay." And what Johan did was nothing short of extraordinary. He took the 32 people I had referred him to over the course of a year and put them all in a WhatsApp group called the Jennifer Hill Tribe. That was it. We were off to the races. It was a variety of some of my dearest friends around the world who are thought leaders, authors, entrepreneurs, investors, speakers, podcasters, you name it. And Johan said, "Jen, this is your gift. You can do whatever you want with it." So I sat there a little bit puzzled. What do I do with this group of amazing human beings who want to uplift and support each other? And a thought struck me. I want to grow it. My dream, as I think I've shared on this show before, is to be the fairy godmother of human connection and to help every human being have a deep, meaningful relationship to themselves, others, and their purpose. So as I realized I'd been given this incredible gift of 32 people, all in the same WhatsApp group that I could communicate with regularly, that inspired me to think, what if we started adding aligned tribe members to this group? Now, part one of why I wanted to share this is just inspire you to perhaps create your own tribe. In my case, this was gifted to me by my friend Johan. But in your case, perhaps you already have a group of 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 friends who you love, and maybe you want to communicate more regularly with them. One idea you could have is to create a WhatsApp group for yourself so you could regularly be in communication with whoever your tribe is, or begin to build your own tribe from scratch as you find people who are aligned with your morals, values, and things that matter most to you. So, step one is we took this tribe of 32 people, and step two is we looked at what do we want to create with this? So I sat with it and I realized I'd love to grow this into a group of people that uplift and support one another and do everything they can to spread more love and joy and light for all of humanity. So I'm proud to say that we're now about 6 weeks into this experiment. And as of this podcast that we're recording, we're now at 118 members around the world from pretty much every continent you can imagine, with the exception of Antarctica. And what we do is it's become a group where we love and support and uplift one another. In an earlier episode that we were doing with Dr. Ozzy Jankovic, she talked about the echo principle and how you can use the echo method to help heal yourself and to live the most full, vital life that you can. In this episode, I wanted to teach you how to create your own tribe. So that way, this experiment that I'm creating can be used in your own life. So that way, you can cultivate a group of like minded humans who you get to call your tribe, your crew, whatever you'd like to call them. So, how do you find people in your tribe? Part of this is learning to listen to your intuition. You know how one of the struggles we sometimes go through in life is choosing the wrong people to have in our lives. We might choose the wrong boss. We might choose the wrong romantic partner. We might choose the wrong friends who later betray us or cause us pain. So the question becomes, how do we develop and cultivate this discernment and to utilize our intuition to track how effective it is at finding the right people? So, step one in cultivating your intuition for knowing who the right or the wrong people are to invite into your tribe. Now, this might be a metaphorical tribe, or it might be an actual WhatsApp tribe like the one that we now have. So, step one is check your intuition. This is one of my favorite tools that I teach people in how to better trust yourself to make good choices. Here's how I do this every day. Right before you get up, back up a second. When you get up in the morning, when you have a little bit of time to yourself, maybe it's before the kids wake up or before you have to go into the office or whatever that might look like, I invite you to spend 5 minutes in silence. Maybe you use the heart focused breathing that we talked about in episode 1, or maybe you use one of your own tools in order to quiet your mind. Whatever that looks like, cultivate stillness and silence. Then, once you've sat there, either doing breath work, meditation, or whatever your version of cultivating stillness and silence is, I invite you to write down 10 questions. Now, you can start with 5 if 10 feels like a little bit much. And you write down these questions and have them be things that you can verify throughout the day. So, for example, in my case, things I might write down are: will all of my meetings happen today? For those of us who are in outward facing roles, sometimes we might have a lot of meetings in a day. And I find a simple yes or no question, like, will all my meetings happen, is something that I can easily verify throughout the day. You could ask a question like, is the stock market up or down? Or is it a good day or bad day to invest? Or is Bitcoin up or down, depending on wherever you invest time, money, or energy? You could even ask questions about the weather. Will it rain today? Will it snow today? Will I see sunshine? Anything that you can ask that's verifiable. And by the end of the day, what you then do after you go into this process in the morning, you write down these 10 questions. Then, once you've spent 5 minutes in stillness or quiet doing whatever aligns you to yourself, then you ask these questions out loud and you either feel in your body internally or you see what you hear. Some people feel things in their body, and some people might hear answers or see answers in their mind's eye. There is no right or wrong way. It can look, hear, feel however you want it to, or however it feels most aligned for you. And then you just either record out loud your answers or write them down on a piece of paper or in the notes section of your smartphone or device. Then at the end of every day, you cross check and you see, how accurate was it? Say you have a meeting, you could say, will all of my meetings be on time? Or you could even ask, if you're flying, is it in my highest and best good to fly today? Or will my flight take off? Or will my flight be late? Funny example of this was the other day I was in the middle of a crazy hurricane like storm in Madeira, Portugal. And I did not see how we were going to be able to travel that day because it was sideways winds blowing at 40 miles an hour with rain and all sorts of things. And I did this exact technique and I said, will we fly today? And I heard yes, which I was rather shocked by. And then I heard, will our flight be delayed? Yes, but I didn't hear how long. Sometimes I'll specifically hear how long the flight might be delayed for. And later that day, sure enough, I was shocked because first our flight was delayed. Then we didn't know if it would take off at all. But then later that day, it was in fact rescheduled and we did wind up getting to take off and go home. So little things like this can be good ways to cross check your intuition to be sure that you're cultivating deeper and deeper knowing. Now, I'm going to give you a bonus technique in today's episode that's one of my favorite tools for understanding myself and others. There's a wonderful technique called human design. If you're not familiar with it, I encourage you to go check it out. I am not a paid sponsor or anything of them. I just personally use it in all of my business dealings and to understand myself and others. And the idea behind human design is that there are 5 types of people according to human design, or sorry, not people, there are 5 types of designs of people. Type 1, which I'll say is my type, is projectors. Projectors make up 20% of the world, and we tend to gather the energy of those around us and be good leaders. The second type is called reflectors. They make up only 1% of the population and are just channels for information flowing through. The third one is called manifestors. Manifestors make up about 10% of the population and they declare what they want, and it often happens very quickly. And they're very powerful with their word and they need to be careful with it. And then the fourth and fifth types are called generators and manifesting generators, which make up 70% of the population. And what makes them those types is their sacral area is defined, which then helps them have more energy than the other 3 types I mentioned earlier. Why does this matter? I encourage you, you can go to Jovian, Jovian, archive.com and get your free human design profile there. It'll say free profile, and you just put in your birthday and time you were born. And human design is an amalgamation of many different disciplines, from acupuncture and Chinese medicine to astrology to numerology to Kabbalah. And it integrates all of these tools into one thing that gives you a map of how you're designed as a human being. Why do I tie this into the piece on intuition? According to human design, depending on your design, you'll see something on your Jovian archive report that says your inner authority. Now, your inner authority means where are you most likely to feel in your body those uh-huh. To go back to the manifesting generator and generator types, the 70% I mentioned of the population, those types feel a clear yes or no in their body to questions and answers. In fact, the best way to communicate with them or to have others communicate with you if you are that type is to be asked yes or no questions. Why do I share this? Because you'll see on that little free profile you'll get, it'll say your inner authority. Now, in most cases, you'll have an inner authority, though some people will not, and it'll say so on the report. If you do have an inner authority, it might say it'll be your gut, your spleen area, or your heart. In my case, one of my areas that's defined that I feel intuition is in my heart. Now, if you had told me this 15 years ago, I would have said you were crazy. In fact, I remember when my business coach taught me about this, right around that time when we started working together about 12 or 15 years ago. He said to me one night on one of our business coaching calls, "I'm going to teach you how to listen to your heart today." I thought this man was off his rocker. He's a dear friend still and business partner now, but I threatened to fire Julian that night. I said, "Are you crazy? You are not going to teach me to listen to my heart." And today I'm glad to say that over a decade later, it is one of my greatest tools for understanding what to say yes to and what to say no to. So even if you don't fall into that 70% of the human design that feels those natural uh-ahs in your body, you're still going to have some form of inner knowing or wisdom. For me, I tend to hear it or feel it in my heart. For other people, they might feel it in their body, that it might feel like a tensing up or a letting go. Now, the other really incredible thing with having something like ChatGPT nowadays is that you can actually use ChatGPT in order to analyze your report. I was doing this for a new business friend the other day, and she said, "Jen, this report is great, but I have no idea what it means." Great news. Just go ahead and drop your human design report in ChatGPT, and it will interpret it for you fairly accurately, I must add, and tell you a little bit about what gates you have, what areas of your body will help you to connect to your intuition. So, to go back to how do we create our tribe? Number one, begin to ask yourself, what values, what matters to me? Who do I want to be aligned with in my tribe? For me, it's connection, contribution, and consciousness. Those are people who I want to have in my tribe. People who are deeply connected to themselves, to others, people who are committed to being a contribution, and people who bring consciousness and awareness to whatever they do. So those are the aligned folks I'm looking for as part of our tribe to grow. Ask yourself, who do I want to be a part of my tribe? Well, what are those characteristics or values that would matter to me most to have as part of my tribe? Step two, begin to harness your intuition. Write down 5, 10 questions a day that are verifiable, and after spending 5 to 10 minutes in silence every day, then ask yourself these questions out loud and feel in your body or intuitively, and write down your answers and check them at the end of every day. And finally, tie in your human design. Utilize your human design, get your free report at Jovian Archive, and then use ChatGPT or other resources to help you interpret your human design and to find out how are you going to most clearly hear your intuition. Now, I'm going to give you the final one, which is a really fun part to this that I say every day. I call it the anti-jerk prayer. So you can call it a prayer, you can call it a statement or an affirmation, whatever aligns best for you and how you engage and see the world. But it goes something like this, and this is how I align the right people in my life, whether it's a party I'm throwing, a business deal I'm doing, or whether it's finding the right people to align for our tribe. I say this every day, and I say it fully intending that I mean it, because you have to be careful, and you'll see why, that sometimes people might disappear from your life unexpectedly. It goes like this. Universe, please remove anything or anyone who is not meant to be in my life and give me the wisdom to know it's happening for my good while drawing the right people and the right resources towards me. Why do I say this? Because So often we find ourselves doing the wrong deal with the wrong person, falling in love with someone who's bad for us, having friendships that wind up broken and hurting us. Now, to backtrack to earlier episodes, our relationships with others are really merely a reflection of our relationship with ourselves. So, in the midst of all of this, continue to cultivate and nurture a relationship with yourself. And then, as you begin to be willing to let go and truly let go, if you say this, do not say this affirmation if you're not willing to really mean it. But when I say that, please remove anything or anyone who is not meant to be in my life. I say that with complete abandon and surrender, knowing with perfect certainty that anybody who's not meant to be in my life will disappear. And that's why you add the second part of that affirmation and the wisdom to know it's happening for my good. Sometime in the last 6 months, I had this happen where somebody who I thought was a friend and would be in my life for quite some time, unexpectedly, poof, just disappeared out of my life. And at first, I wanted to control or manipulate or try and fix the situation, right? What did I do? This is bad or wrong. Did I make a mistake? Did I say the wrong thing? And then I had the wisdom to recognize it. And in that moment, I just checked in with my higher self and source and I said, "Oh, is this one of those people who is not meant to be in my life any longer?" And I heard a clear yes. So part of this is being willing to be intentional. Who do you want in your life? What do they look like? Intuitively asking for that guidance, understanding how you're designed so you can better tap into that intuition, and then surrendering at the same time and trusting all the resources and everything we ever do need or will be provided for us, though sometimes it just comes in unexpected packages. As we leave this week's episode, I invite you to do at least one of these tools. Maybe all three or four of them might seem a little bit much for you, but at the very least, write down 3 or 4 elements or values that matter to you that you would love to see in the people in your tribe. And then begin to ask the universe, higher self, source, whatever you consider to be your guide, to guide you to the right people who are meant to be a part of your tribe. So that way you can super connect to yourself, others, and your purpose. I am Jennifer K. Hill, and I thank you for being here with us.